My name is Diana, and I am 55 years old, and the moment my feet touched the cracked cement outside my old home, my suitcase slipped from my hand and fell over like it had lost the strength to stand, just like me. I had imagined this moment for 10 years. In my imagination, my daughter would be waiting at the door, smiling, maybe crying, calling out "Mama," the way she used to when she scraped her knees as a child. I imagined neighbors peeking from behind curtains, whispering, "She's back. Diana is back." Instead, the gate creaked open under my trembling fingers, and a young woman in a faded uniform bent over the porch floor, scrubbing tiles that once held my daughter's chalk drawings. She didn't look up. She didn't recognize me. And that was the first crack in my heart. 10 years earlier, I had left this house with a single suitcase and a head full of promises. I was 45 then, widowed, tired, broke in ways money couldn't measure. My husband had died suddenly, heart attack, they said, leaving behind debts, a half-finished house, and a 13-year-old daughter named Aisha, whose eyes still searched every doorway for her father. Life didn't pause to let me grieve. Bills came, school fees piled up. Relatives who once smiled at family dinners suddenly found reasons not to answer my calls. I worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3, until my hands shook at night and my back screamed when I bent to pray. Then came the offer. A domestic work contract abroad, 10 years, good money, accommodation included, a chance to build something solid for my daughter. I remember kneeling in front of Aisha that night, holding her face in my hands. "Just a few years," I promised. "I'll send money, I'll come back, this house will be yours, you'll study, you'll become someone strong." She nodded bravely, but her lips trembled. "Mama, don't forget me." I kissed her forehead and whispered, "Never." I didn't know then how cruel distance could be. Life abroad was not what people imagine. It wasn't glamour or freedom. It was long days, aching feet, and quiet nights where I stared at my phone, waiting for messages that sometimes didn't come. I cleaned other people's homes, cooked their meals, raised their children, and sent every spare cent back home. At first, Aisha called me every week. She told me about school, her teachers, her friends. I could hear the smile in her voice. Then the calls became shorter. Then less frequent. Then only texts. "I'm busy, Mama. Exams. I'll call later." Later rarely came. When I asked my brother, who had promised to keep an eye on things, about her, he said, "She's fine. Teenagers are like that, don't worry so much." So I didn't. I worked harder instead. Year after year passed. I extended my contract twice, telling myself it was for her future. I saved enough to finish the house. I paid for renovations. I sent money for university. And finally, at 55, my body said enough. I packed my things, heart pounding with excitement. I was going home. The woman scrubbing the porch looked up when my suitcase hit the ground. Our eyes met. Her hands froze. Something flickered across her face, confusion, shock, fear. Then she stood slowly. "Mama," she whispered. The word hit me like a slap. I looked closer. The thinness of her face, the familiar curve of her eyebrows, the tiny scar near her lip from when she fell off her bicycle at 8. "Aisha," my voice broke. She dropped the brush. Before I could move, she rushed forward and fell at my feet, clutching my legs like she used to when she was little. "I'm sorry, Mama," she sobbed. "I'm so sorry." I couldn't breathe. My daughter, my educated, protected, beloved child, was wearing a maid's uniform in her own home. Inside, the house looked different. New furniture, expensive curtains, a large television on the wall. And strangers. A middle-aged couple sat on the sofa, staring at me like I was an intruder. "Who is this?" the woman asked sharply. Aisha stood slowly, wiping her tears. "This is my mother," she said softly. The man frowned. "Your mother, I thought you said she was dead." The room spun. Dead? I looked at my daughter, my heart screaming questions my mouth couldn't yet form. The woman scoffed. "Well, this is awkward, we're entertaining guests later, can this wait?" That's when I understood. My house had been rented out. My daughter hadn't been living with these people, She had been living under them. That night, Aisha and I sat on the floor of the small storeroom behind the kitchen, her room. A thin mattress, a single bulb, no window. This was where my daughter slept. Between sobs, she told me everything. After I left, my brother moved in temporarily to manage the house. When Aisha turned 18, he pressured her to sign papers she didn't understand. He said it was for tax purposes. Then he rented out the house and kept the money. When she protested, he told her, "Your mother isn't coming back. You should be grateful I let you stay here." University never happened. The money I sent. House expenses, he said. Aisha cleaned, cooked, and served the tenants to earn her place under her own roof. She said if I complained, she'd throw me out, Aisha whispered. I didn't know where else to go. I held her, rocking back and forth, my chest burning with guilt and rage. I had left to give her a better life. Instead, I had abandoned her to survive alone. The next morning, I did not cry. I stood tall. I asked for my brother. When he arrived, smiling nervously, I handed him a folder. Inside were copies of every money transfer, every receipt, every document I had kept for 10 years. I'm home, I said calmly, and this ends today. He laughed. You don't understand how things work now. I smiled back. I learned very well abroad how things work when women stop being afraid. Within weeks, lawyers were involved, neighbors spoke up, truth surfaced like dirt scrubbed from old tiles. The tenants left. My brother disappeared. The house was ours again. But fixing walls is easier than fixing hearts. Aisha flinched when people raised their voices. She apologized too often. She moved quietly like she was afraid to take up space. One night, I found her scrubbing the kitchen floor at midnight. Why are you doing this? I asked gently. She froze. I thought it needed to be clean. I knelt beside her, took the cloth from her hands and hugged her tightly. You are not a servant here, I said firmly. You are my daughter. This is your home. She cried then, not quietly, but with the raw, shaking sobs of a child who had been strong for too long. Healing took time. We cooked together, laughed awkwardly at first, then more freely. She enrolled in evening classes. I took a small tailoring job. Some nights regret sat heavy on my chest. I would whisper into the dark, I should have come back sooner. But Aisha would squeeze my hand and say, you came back when I needed you most. Today, when I sit on the porch, I sometimes watch her leave for work, her work chosen freely, dressed in clothes she bought with her own salary. She always turns back, waves and smiles. And every time, my heart thanks God for second chances. Morals. Love is not only measured by sacrifice but by presence. Providing from afar can never replace protection, guidance and vigilance. Sometimes the greatest responsibility is not just to give, but to stay, to see, and to stand up when it matters most.